Capillarization is whilst we are exercising, the capillary density will increase. This means our capillaries will provide our working muscles with oxygen rich and with blood, and remove carbon dioxide much better. With long-term training, it can lead to a development of a capillary network to a part of the body. This allows for a greater diffusion of oxygen and removal of carbon dioxide. Overall, during training there will be an increase in the red blood cells. This change comes from the heart producing more blood, and this means more oxygen can be transported around the body. More oxygen means there can be more hemoglobin, which carries oxygen to the working muscles of the body. There are then changes on the volume of blood and the plasma. The total amount of blood increases. This has an impact on our body. It prevents any diseases in the venous return as a result of more blood in the capillaries. This enhances our cardiovascular performance. Cardiovascular exercise boosts the release of antidiuretic hormones. They can cause our kidneys to retain water. Increased water retention within the kidneys increases the blood plasma levels and produces a greater blood volume overall. The increase in blood volume then decreases the plasma viscosity. Viscosity is the blood stickiness and fluid consistency. With exercise, this becomes a lower viscosity to deal with the pressure amount of blood, and so that the oxygen can be delivered easier with less restriction. Aerobic training can then reduce the changes of certain cardiovascular diseases such as arteriosclerosis, hypertension, and others. These are likely to happen due to the heart being healthy and being able to remove waste products better and supply the body with more oxygen. With aerobic training, coronary heart disease can be reduced. With a healthy heart with no buildup of plaque, the blood is able to flow smoothly through the ventricles. The respiratory system also has adaptations to it due to aerobic training. Ventilation is increased during exercise to supply our body with the oxygen which is needed. This then affects the VO2 max, as that's how much oxygen we breathe in. If our ventilation increases, so does our VO2 max. The higher the ventilation, the better the aerobic performance will be, as we have more oxygen in our working muscles. By looking at the VO2 graph, we can see that the pre-training has a lower VO2 max than the post-training line. This is due to our respiratory system becoming stronger and coping with oxygen better. Our ventilation has also increased in the post-training. This means we have a higher intake of oxygen and increasing our VO2 max. These help our players' performance, as they have more oxygen to supply their muscles, meaning they will not fatigue as quickly. Due to training, the body has a lower breathing rate at submaximal intensity exercise. Over time, the tidal volume of athletes undertaking long-term exercise increases, so their breathing rate can decrease. An increase in strength allows the external intercostal muscles greater contraction, while intercostal muscles relax during inspiration, allowing a larger force to move air into the lungs. The greater the contraction, the greater the volume of air which is inspired, allowing our athlete more oxygen to prolong their exercise. For lung volumes, there will be an increase in the resting lung volume. This is because the alveoli in the lungs are increasing in size, allowing more oxygen and carbon dioxide to diffuse through. During long-term exercise, the diffuse rate is also increased. This means our body becomes more efficient during exercise, as diffusion is quicker and can remove waste products much quicker than usual. The link between capillarization and alveolar adaptations and they both increase in size and they are more efficient at removing waste products. O2 deficit and the size of the epoch depends on the athlete themselves. The better trained in aerobic fitness, the lower O2 deficit will be. This is due to us not owing our body as much oxygen. EPOC stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. This is the process that restores the body to a resting state and adapts to the exercise it's undergone. The size of the epoch depends on how intense the exercise was. Aerobic training can also help with stopping serious respiratory diseases such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. This is characterized as as an increasing breathlessness. With an increase of alveoli, this avoids this, as the alveoli provide more oxygen than a regular untrained person would be able to. For aerobic energy, we use slow oxidative fibers. These fibers are highly resistant to fatigue. These fibers are used during long endurance events such as a marathon or 10,000 meter event. Our rugby performer would hardly use these type of fibers, yet aerobic training enhances these fibers. Due to training, these fibers become more productive and are able to last for longer. These motor units then are able to give a larger output for aerobic performance to become better. Due to this, we can work aerobically for longer. As there are more mitochondria, this takes an increase in mitochondria in the muscle cells. This increases performance because the muscles can get more oxygen and work for longer. This means our performer will be playing for a longer period of time. Enzymes, like I've explained, help with resynthesis of ATP stores and PC stores. Cellular adaptation, such as an increase in number and size of mitochondria, is accompanied by an increase of aerobic system enzymes. These enhance the ability of slow-twitch muscles to generate ATP. This allows the athlete to sustain prolonged periods of aerobic exercise. As the aerobic system can rely on fats for the energy source during low-intensity exercise, fat combustion powers almost all exercise at approximately 25% of aerobic power. Fat oxidation increase if exercise extends over an hour as glycogen levels deplete. Using fats means ATP can be prolonged and used for a longer period of time. The stores will also increase due to this. Glycogen sparing is where non-carbohydrates are used for the primary source of energy during exercise to prolong the glycogen from being used up to make sure this can be delayed. With this, our performer will be able to play for longer without feeling exhausted. The onset of blood lactate accumulation kicking in at 4 millimoles of lactate, this inhibits the energy production. This lactate denatures the enzymes which are breaking down ATP and PC. This takes an effect on our performance. As our main source of energy is stopped, our performance drops and we feel as though we have hit a wall. The graph briefly shows how OBLA kicks in and how dramatically the lactate increases after this. From the data, we can then see how training helps cope with our lactic acid buildup. Our lactate threshold is dramatically pushed along, meaning we are able to work for longer without feeling the effects of the OBLA. We can also see that with training, our OBLA will kick in later. This means it takes an effect on our performance. If the performer cannot feel the lactate, that means they won't feel sore or stiff until later and will be able to work for longer. As the OBLA starts later, the lactate won't inhibit or denature the enzymes which the performer is using to produce energy. Due to aerobic training, our skeletal system adapts to this. We become stronger and more stable with the training which we are doing. Our bones begin to strengthen and protect us from becoming injured. Long distance running helps with this. By running constantly, this strengthens our bones. This is a type of training. Yet the skeletal system is typically strengthened via the anaerobic training such as weight bearing exercise. Aerobic training only brings some benefit to the system.